So in the book, he tells the story of the British cycling team. They hired a man named David Brailsford to manage the team. And the British cycling team back in 2003 was not very good. They were a very average to below average team at best. In fact, a lot of bike manufacturers didn't want them using their equipment because they didn't want to be seen with the British cycling team using them. So they hired this guy, David Brailsford, and he was a 1% aggregation guy. So a little bit better in a lot of areas. And that's really the gist of habits, right? So he changed everything. He changed how they trained, he changed the beds they slept on, had custom-made mattresses, he changed how they washed their hands, he had a surgeon come in and teach them how to wash their hands so they wouldn't get sick as much, he changed materials of their jersey, the shape of the helmet, you know, they changed a lot of things just a little bit. And everybody said, well, we'll see. We'll see what the results are, right? Sounds good. You know, when you're not doing very well, it's not a big deal to make wholesale changes. Well, if you look at the results, 5 years later, they won a bunch of medals, I think 9 at the Olympics. They'd never won a medal before. They also won the Tour de France 7 out of the next 9 times. Okay, Bradley Wiggins was the first one, then Chris Froome, then Egan Bernal. If you know anything about Team Ineos, the British cycling team, they've had the most successful 10-year run in the history of cycling. And to this day, you know, what is this, 18 years later, David Brailsford is still the team manager, and they still are working on the processes and the systems to get there. That's really the big difference when we talk about habits versus goals. Goals are great for setting direction, but they're not really good for getting us there. That's what systems and processes are for, and that's why we like to talk about what are your daily habits. So there's a couple things you want to do. Number one, you want to think about how can I add new good habits, right? And then number two, how do I eliminate bad habits that aren't serving me well? So let's talk about the first one. The way you add good new habits is, number one, you make it attractive. You won't do things if there's not a pleasurable reward for doing it. We have to make it as attractive as possible, as easy as possible, and this is one of my favorite parts of the book. Set up your environment to make the right decisions the easiest choice, because we're very much creatures of proximity. Whatever's easy and handy, that's what we're going to do. So make sure what's easy and handy are things that are good for you. If it comes to food, make sure you've got apples sitting out on the counter. When it comes to real estate and writing handwritten notes, make sure you have envelopes and stamps ready and easy to get to, right? And create an environment where it's easy to succeed. That's called removing friction. The way to eliminate bad habits is to create friction, right? Make the habit unattractive and make it difficult by creating friction. Don't have ice cream in the house, right? Don't have junk food readily available in your cupboard. If it's not available and handy, we're less likely to do it. That's called removing the cue. And I think that's really important when it comes to creating good habits and removing bad habits is who you're around, right? To make something satisfying, get around other people that already are doing that. Get around other people who are already successful, already succeeding in something you want to succeed in, and their habits and philosophies will rub off on you. Right? To make something unattractive, join a culture that shares your values, because the normal behavior of the tribe is going to dramatically affect your decisions and your habits.